I'm Joe Chili. You can listen to me mornings on the Big Weck. Joining us today on the Big Weck's Buffalo on the Rise is Earl Perrin, who's the chairperson of Legacy 514. Earl, welcome.
Yeah, glad to be here, sir.
Nice to have you here. I think the date 514 is something that resounds in the minds of people in Buffalo, probably always will, not just in Western New York, but here especially.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about what Legacy 514 is.
Legacy 514 is a organization that we started to try to continue a legacy for those who were lost their lives in the Jefferson top shooting. Our whole idea about this was to start a scholarship to try to turn a negative into something positive. By doing so, we just thought it was great that people were giving food. It was even great that they were, trying to give out funds to financially try to assist people. But we figured we wanted a long-term success rate. So by empowering students to go to college, now we get a young upcoming group who can pick up the mantle when we fall down because of the education they received from the organization and try to change the East Buffalo narrative of always being marginalized, poor citizens. So by empowering them with education, you have the power to change lives. And also we figured this is also a great way to keep our citizens or our good students here and stop the brain drain that occurs when they go to college. They usually go somewhere else because it's nicer, like Charlotte or somewhere down south. So by giving these scholarships here and trying to promote them to stay here, this gives us an opportunity to keep the higher functioning students here and turn Buffalo around that way, as opposed to just something that was temporary. This is a long-term fix.
The other thing is, when you mention this, it's kind of hard to take 514 and change it from a negative to a positive, right? But this can give you something that kind of inspires, right? Something, as you said, that lasts in people's minds as something that's enduring and not just a date that you have to say, oh, that was a terrible date in Buffalo's history.
Absolutely. So in order to change things, you can't have just one group. It has to be a partnership, meaning we have to operate as communities. So with us partnering with the legislatures like Senator Kennedy, the mayor, and all those people who would fight to have the laws changed, which they have actually successfully done. The victims' families have been in court, partnered up with the U.S. Department of Justice and several other legal entities to actually change the laws, and that all is a result of what happened at 514. Additionally, you have to have a buy-in from the authorities who decide, hey, let's just try to invest in this area and change it from what it was, which was the reason he chose that area, into something even better. So now you have all these economic empowerment zones being built in the same area that was once just leave it alone, we don't care, it's a desert, it's a food desert, and they're just all poor. And so now you change the narrative. So in fact, when everyone buys in, not just the citizens, but the lawmakers, groups such as our nonprofit, and then partnership with some of the existing ones, now we have everyone working collectively, and yes, you can change it from a negative to a positive, because none of this would have happened had that not occurred. So now we see that people are empowered by what occurred, and we are actually changing the narrative. We had 10 students given $5,000 apiece last year, and they all went to college off of the scholarship money that we raised, and that's why we're having the events, because we want them to know that yes, you can change things.
Tell us about some of the charitable events that you're doing, some of the charity events to help raise money for this.
So last year, as a matter of fact, for the last 2 years since this occurred in 2022, we've had the Bruce Smith Celebrity Golf Tournament, as well as the Bruce Smith Celebrity Gala. We've had the likes of the NFL Commissioner attend. We've had many of the Bills, Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, the great ones. We've even had some other players from other teams, from the Jets. And this year we've got responses from Chris Berman, Michael Irvin, Dan Marino, and others who plan on attending this year's golf tournament. So with those events, we use the funds from that and put them directly back into the scholarship. That's why we can afford to do it. That, along with the sponsorship partnerships that we have with Paddock Chevrolet, New Era, the Buffalo Store, and CHCB, which stands for the Community Health Center of Buffalo. Because of those partnerships, we're able to continue to turn this over and get that's $50,000 worth of scholarships out every year. So these events that we're having, 514 5K half marathon, which begins at Canisius College and ends in Delaware Park, was a huge success last year. We had over 400 people attending that. And then there was also the golf tournament, which we sold out with 140 participants in that. And the gala was just phenomenal at Stolatz, where we had over 300 people there.
All right, we have just a couple of minutes left. Maybe we want to talk about some of the events coming up this year.
We'll have the 514 5K. That'll be on
May 11th?
May the 11th. And then on June 23rd, we'll have the Celebrity Gala. And on June 24th will be the Celebrity Golf Tournament.
All right. And you can get tickets at one spot for all three events?
Yes, you can. If you go to legacy514.com, you can purchase tickets for each of the three events.
You know, I think that it's great because, you know, we think of Buffalo as the city of good neighbors, and this kind of brings that all back in because that 514 event, you know, they had to import hate for that event. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And let's stick together as, you know, as a community, as one community here in Buffalo, and support this. Again, Legacy 514.
Yes, sir.
And the website is legacy514.com. Legacy514.com. Tickets for all three events are available right there, right?
Yes, sir, as well as the scholarship applications. And please point out that these scholarships are available for all City of Buffalo residents, not just minorities, but all City of Buffalo residents who might be financially challenged.
All right, very good. Thank you, Earl. I appreciate that. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Legacy 514 by calling 716-986-9199 or go to legacy514.com. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment was provided by the following.